In the today's session, we are going to discuss the organic farming from the biodynamic agriculture. So let us move towards the introduction to the organic farming. So this is the concept or the terminology which is coined by the Lord Northbourne. This is the term was derived from the concept of the farm as an organism and which is explained in his book Look to the Land. So whatever the concept of organic farming, it is coined by the Lord Northbourne. If you can see the definition of organic farming, it is simply we are not using the things from the chemical source or the synthetic source. More precisely, the organic farming, it is an agricultural system that uses ecologically based pest control and biological fertilizers derived largely from animal and plant waste and nitrogen fixing cover crops. So here we are going to use the ecologically based pest controls. Then we are utilizing the biological fertilizers which are derived from the plant sources, which are derived from the animal sources, and furthermore, we are utilizing the nitrogen fixing that is known as the organic farming. It avoids or excludes the use of synthetic input. We are not going to use here the synthetic fertilizers. We are not using the synthetic pesticides, hormones, or the feed additives for the cultivation of the medicinal plants. So to the maximum extent feasible, it rely upon the crop rotation. Listen carefully. So whatever the organic farming is there, it relies on the crop rotation, then the crop residues, then the animal manures, that is the off-farm organic waste, mineral grade rock additives, and biological system of nutrient mobilization and the plant rotation. So everywhere in the organic farming, we are not utilizing the synthetic inputs for the growth or the cultivation of the medicinal plants. So this is the introduction to the organic farming. Let us move towards the what are the different goals of organic farming. There are so many goals are there. I have taken only the major one. So very first goal, that is the high level of productivity. When we are going for the organic farming, we are getting the high productivity. That is the thing. The second thing is that compatibility of cultivation with the natural cycles of the production system. Whatever things we are growing, it is having a compatibility of a cultivation with the natural cycles of the production system. Here we are going to maintain and increase the long-term fertility and the biological activity of the soil. So in the organic farming, mainly we are giving the focus on the long-term fertility and the biological activity of the soil. So automatically the final yield, it is going to be improved. Furthermore, we are going to maintain and increase the natural diversity and agrobiodiversity. Furthermore, we are utilizing the maximum renewable sources. That is again the goal of the organic farming. Furthermore, we are creating a harmonic balance between the crops and animal husbandry. So there is already we have seen the thing in the biodynamic agriculture for the preparation of the certain manures, cow fat feeds, and so on. We can utilize it as a fertilizers for the cultivation of the some of the medicinal plants. So creating a harmonic balance between the crops and the animal husbandry. Then creating such a conditions for the animals that corresponds to their natural behavior and protecting and learning indigenous knowledge and traditional management. So these are the certain goals of the organic farming. Let us move towards the next point related with the organic farming. So what actually involves in the organic farming? If you can see the points, the first one, organic farming involves the conversion of land from conventional management to organic management. So whatever the farming is there, which is managed conventionally, which is going to be converted into the organic management, right? Furthermore, the management of entire surrounding system to ensure the biodiversity and sustainability of the system. So here we are going to manage the entire surrounding system to ensure the biodiversity and sustainability of the whole system. Then crop production by using alternative sources of nutrients such as the crop rotation, residue management, organic manures, and biological input. So whatever the crops which are being produced or cultivated, it is from the alternative sources of nutrients such as there will be the crop rotation is one of the way. Then second way is the residue management. Third way is the organic manure and the biological input. So these things are being utilized in the crop production under the organic farming. Then management of weeds and pests by the better management practices, physical and cultural means, and biological control system. So here in the organic farming, whatever the weeds are there, then the pests are there, which are managed well without any synthetic input. Without any synthetic input. Then by physical and cultural means and biological control system. Sometimes it is possible to use the certain mechanical devices to control the weeds and pests. So that is being considered under the organic farm. Then maintenance of livestock along with the organic concept and make them an integral part of entire system. So these things are being involved in the organic farming. Let us see the major principles of organic farming. Organic farming is based on the four major principles. Very first one, principle of health. Second one, principle of ecology. Third one, principle of fairness. And fourth one, that is the principle of care. So it works on the principle of health, principle of ecology, principle of fairness, and principle of care. We'll see one by one the principles of organic farming. So as you know, the health is the holiness and integrity of living system. So it is a integrity of the living system and there is a need to maintain the health. So organic agriculture should sustain and enhance the health of soil, plant, animal, human, and planet as a one and indivisible. So whatever the organic farming is there, it should sustain and enhance the health of soil, health of plant, health of animal, health of human being, and health of planet as a one. So everywhere we are going to maintain the healthy health. We are going to maintain the health. That is on that principle the organic farming is based. So it refers to the health of ecosystem as well as the health of people and the community. So here we are going to maintain the health of whole ecosystem along with the health of people and community. When we are considering the health of ecosystem, if we are going for the synthetic fertilizers, definitely the health of ecosystem is not going to be maintained. Health of human being, it is also not being maintained. And furthermore, it is not going to maintain the health of the community. So healthy soil, if we are going for the healthy soil, it produces the healthy crop, definitely. If the health of soil is good, definitely whatever the crop production is there, whatever medicinal plant we are getting, it becomes a healthy and which turns the healthy product and that leads to healthy animal and healthy human being. If everything is healthy, it starts with the soil, definitely the health of animal as well as the human being, it becomes healthier. So good health is an imperative to our mental and physical well-being. It also increases our immunity and allows our body to regenerate. If we are maintaining the good health, definitely it is going to support the mental and physical health. Furthermore, it increases the immunity and which allows our body to regenerate. So organic agriculture aims to provide healthy food that is nutritious and superior quality by not using fertilizers, pesticides, and additives. Furthermore, the organic food plays an extra part in aiding the good health. So organic farming, whether in a farming, processing, distribution, or consumption, which sustains and enhances the health of ecosystem and organism, ranging from the smallest in the soil to human. So ultimately, whatever the smallest thing is, that the health of that smallest thing is also being maintained along with the animals and the human being. Whole ecosystem it becomes healthier. So this is the principle of the health on which the organic farming is based. Let us move towards the second principle that is known as the principle of ecology. So here the organic agriculture should be based on the living ecological system and cycles, works with them, emulate them, and help and sustain them. So whatever the ecological cycles are there, which are going to be maintained well, which are going to be sustained, and the production should be based on ecological processes and the cycling. Furthermore, the nourishment and well-being are achieved through the ecology of specific production environment. So the organic management should be adapted to local conditions, ecology, culture, and the scale. So here the use of inputs should be avoided by reusing, recycling, and efficient management of materials and energy to maintain and improve the environmental quality and conserve resources. It should attain ecological balance by designing farming systems, establishing habitats, and maintaining genetic and agricultural diversity. If you can see the last point, that is, it should attain the ecological balance by designing farming systems, establishing the habitat for particular plants, for particular animals, and maintaining genetic and agricultural diversity. So these are the things related with the principles of the ecology. Let us move towards the next principle that is known as the principle of fairness. So here, the organic farming should be based on the relationship that ensure fairness with regard to common environment and the life opportunity. So whatever the fairness is, that it is being considered with the common environment and the life opportunities. This principle states that those involved in the organic farming should conduct human relationships to ensure the fairness at all levels and to all farmers, workers, processors, distributors, traders, and the consumers. So the fairness, it is regards to the at all levels of farming. Furthermore, with the farmers, with the workers, with the processors, with the distributors, with the traders, and the consumers. And this is done with the goal of producing a sufficient supply of good quality food and the other products. So this is the principle of fairness. The natural and environmental resources used for production and consumption should be managed such that it is socially and ecologically fair and trusted for future generations. So whatever we are generating, it should be trusted for the future generation. If we are generating the such a thing which are not trusted for the future generation, it is not at all useful. And that is being considered as a principle of fairness. The fairness requires open and equitable systems of production, distribution, trade accounting for real environment and the social cost. So this is about the principle of fairness. So let us move towards the last one that is known as the principle of care. Organic agriculture should be managed in a precautionary and responsible manner to protect the health and well-being of current and future generation and the environment. So whatever the organic farming is there, it is being managed in a precautionary and responsible manner to protect the health and well-being of current and future generation along with the environment. So whatever the current generation is there, we should take care of the current generation, we should take care of the future generation. Along with that, we should take care of the environment. Organic agriculture is a living and dynamic system that responds to internal and external demands and the conditions. Practitioners of the organic agriculture can enhance the efficiency and increase the productivity, but this should not be at the risk of jeopardizing the health and well-being. So whatever the things are there, when we are increasing the productivity, when we are increasing the efficiency, do not create the risk factor for the health and well-being of the human being. Consequently, the new technologies and need to be assessed, and existing methods needs to be reviewed. And given the incomplete understanding of ecosystem and agriculture, care must be taken. So this is the principle of care. Let us move and we will see in short details of the principles of organic farming. The very first one, that is the principle of health. Second one, that is the principle of ecology. Third one, that is the principle of fairness. And fourth one, that is the principle of care. The very first one, that is the principle of health. So in brief, it should avoid the use of fertilizers. So we are not going to use the fertilizer. We are not going to use the pesticides. So we should not use the animal drugs and the food additives that may have adverse health effects. Let us move towards the principle of ecology. So it should be based on the living ecological systems and cycles, works with them, emulate them, and help to sustain them. So whatever the ecological systems and cycles are there, we have to supposed to work with these ecological systems and cycles. Then furthermore, we should emulate them and help to sustain them. Principle of fairness. So it should build on the relationship that ensure fairness with regards to common environment and the life processes. So whatever the things are there, organic farming is there. It should ensure the fairness with regards to the common environment and the life processes. And the last principle, that is the principle of care. It should be managed in a precautionary manner to protect the health and well-being of the current and future generation and the environment. So these are the 4 principles of the organic farming. Let us see the advantages of organic farming. Okay, we are talking. We have discussed the introduction to organic farming, goals of the organic farming, principles of the organic farming. Now, let us see what are the advantages and disadvantages of the organic farming. If we can consider whatever output we are getting finally the very good poison-free and tasty food, which is having a good nutritional value. That is the first advantage of the organic farming. The second advantage, that is the growing cost is very low. Then it enhances the soil nourishment. So the soil quality is going to be improved, soil health it is going to be improved, and finally the crop yield it is going to be promoted. Then it is a more energy efficient than carbon sequestration, then less water pollution when we are using the organic farming, as we are not utilizing any synthetic inputs for the organic farming. So the water pollution it is going to be suppressed. Then whatever the things we are practicing under the organic farming, it is environmental friendly, and as a source of productivity for the labor. So these are the few advantages of the organic farming. Let us move towards the disadvantages of organic farming. There are 4 disadvantages are there. Very first one, lower productivity. Then it requires the skills. Then it is time consuming and more labor intensive. So these are the disadvantages of the organic farming, that is lower productivity, requires skills, then time consuming, and more labor intensive. Let us move towards the practices of organic farming. If you can see the organic farming practices, it includes very first one, that is the crop rotation. So crop rotation, which will help to get the healthy soil and healthy cultivation of the plant. Then the cover cropping, then green manures, then animal manure, weed management, pest management, and livestock management. So let us see one by one the organic farming practices. Very first one, that is known as the crop rotation. Just see the image or picture which I have placed on the slide. You will understood what is mean by the crop rotation. So crop rotation, it is nothing but a system of growing different kinds of crops in a recurrent succession on the same land. So that is known as the crop rotation. Suppose that we have taken a period of year. So say for example, quarterly, we are changing the plants and in the field, and that is being said to be the crop rotation. So it will be helpful. So this involves the planting different crop species on the same field, but at a different times and location. So rotating crop, which will improve the soil structure. Furthermore, this practice reduces erosion of soil and buildup of the pests, then promote the soil fertility and spread out financial risk if a crop fails. When we are rotating the crop, it will reduce the chances of erosion of the soil. Furthermore, it is going to build up the pests, then promotes the soil fertility and spread out the financial risk if a crop fails. So crop rotation increases the soil microbial activity, which in turn increases the nutrient availability, including the phosphorus. So yields with the practice of crop rotation, it is approximately 10 to 15% higher than that of the monoculture. If we are going for the monoculture, the crop rotation increases the yield up to 10 to 15% more than that of the monoculture. So when we are considering the crop rotation, it is simply the planting different crop species on the same field at a different time and the location, which will help to reduce the erosion of soil, which will build up of the pest, then promote soil fertility and spread out the financial risk if crop fails. So this is about the crop rotation. Let us move towards the next practice, that is known as the cover cropping. So look at the image so that you will understood the thing. Here, this is the image related with the alfalfa into the corn silage. So if you can see the plant of alfalfa or a herb of alfalfa, which is just near to soil, small plant, and another one, bigger one, that is a corn, isn't it? So whatever this situation, in this situation, it is said to be the cover cropping. So cover cropping are the plants that are planted to cover the soil rather than for the purpose of being harvested. We are not growing these types of the plants for the harvesting. It is being cultivated, being planted to cover the soil, isn't it? And which will improve the further the yield of another plant. So cover crop manage soil erosion, soil fertility, soil quality, water, weeds, pest diseases, biodiversity, and wildlife in an agro-system and ecological system managed and shaped by this one. If you can see the crop covering, so which will help to manage the soil erosion. So soil erosion, it is going to be reduced. Then soil fertility, it is going to be improved. Then soil quality, it is going to be increased. Then the water is managed well. Then weeds are also managed well along with the pests. Then the diseases related with the plant biodiversity and the wildlife in an agro ecosystem. So practice of cover cropping loosens the compacted soil to the root growth. So when we are going for the cover cropping, see, when we are using the monoculture, there might be the compact soil is there. Whatever the soil structure is there, it is the compacted, isn't it? Due to the roots of that plant. But if we are using the such system or the cover cropping, it is going to be loosen the compacted soil, isn't it, to the root growth, and which improves the water filtration, prevents the soil erosion by wind and water, and suppresses the weed by keeping the sun from reaching the weed seeds, and reduces the insect pest and diseases. So when we are using the cover crops, the weeds are going to be managed well, pests are going to be managed well. So weeds are not getting the sunlight because the whole soil, it is being covered by the another plant, isn't it? That is the benefit of the cover cropping. So this crop can be annual, biannual, or perennial herbaceous plant grown in the pure or mixed sand throughout the year. For example, alfalfa is the corn millet. So this is the cover cropping. So this is about the cover cropping. Let us move towards the another practice that is known as the green manure. Look at the image so that you will understood what is mean by the green manure. So what is the green manure? It is a cover crop that is tiled into the soil while still green. So it adds organic matter and nutrients to the soil. When the green plant is incorporated into the soil, it contains high amounts of nitrogen, moisture, and becomes a food source for soil microorganisms and the earthworm, and which will help to improve the soil quality. So green manure also suppresses the weeds and soil-borne diseases. So this is about the green manure. So green manure, it is a cover crop which is being incorporated into the soil when it is in a green condition. So it is going to act as it is a rich with the source of certain nutrients, water, isn't it? And it is going to act as a food for the certain microorganisms and the earthworm. It is going to reduce the weed production as well as the soil-borne diseases. So this is the one of the practice which is used, that is known as the green manure. Then the fourth practice that is known as the animal manure. Yes, definitely we can use the animal manures for the cultivation of the plants, right? Look at the picture, you will understood what is mean by the animal manure. So it is being classified as a raw manure or the composted form. So manure can be applied to the field either in a raw form or the composted form. So the raw manure provides nutrients and organic matter to the soil and encourages the biological processes in the soil. Furthermore, the composted manure is the most suitable since the heat is generated during the composting, which kills the most of the contaminants, pathogens, and reduces the or completely eliminates the risk of pathogen related to food safety. So that is related with the composted manure. Is it possible? It is possible to use the raw manure, which is going to act as a nutrient and the organic matter to the soil. Furthermore, if we are going for the composted manure, during the composting, the heat is going to be generated, which is going to kill certain microorganisms, pathogens, and which is going to reduce the risk related with the food. So the composted manure also reduces the biomass volume and thus facilitates the transportation. If we are using directly the raw manure, what will happen? The volume of raw manure, it is somewhat little bit bigger, isn't it? Which is a bulkier, than that of the composted manure. So the transportation cost of the composted manure, it is going to be decreased. We can prefer the raw manure as well as the composted manure for the organic farming. So this is about the animal manure. Let us move towards the next practice that is known as the weed management. There are various ways are there by which it is possible to manage the weed. For example, mulching, for example, digging, for example, pulling, for example, chopping, or by using the drip irrigation, or by using the chemical herbicide. So these are some of the ways by which it is possible to manage the weed in the organic farming. So mulching, it is something related with the placing of the some crops, isn't it, in the farm. So that will reduces the light entry, which is going to be reached to the weeds, or decreases the amount of quality of light reaching the weed seeds or the leaves, and thus the weeds are going to be suppressed. That is the growth of weeds, it is going to be suppressed. So the weed management, this involves the crop rotation, then the removing the weeds before the seed sets, and reproduction, and not allowing the weeds on the farm. So whatever things are there, if the weeds are in the sitting position, uh, in that particular time, we have to suppose to remove the weeds, isn't it? Or furthermore, it is possible to use the crop rotation practices, or we can use the mulches, which will prevent the exposure of weeds to the light, thereby the growth, it is going to be reduced. The certain mulches with the naturally occurring chemicals prevent the germination of weed seeds. The ways by which it is possible to manage the weeds, that is the mulching. So mulch benefits plant by keeping the soil cool and moist and depriving weeds of life. So that is the benefit of the mulching. Then digging, dig when you only need to, and immediately solve the disturbed spot with the plants or mulch. Then the pulling, for better or worse, you need to pull out the most weeds. The trick to pull weeds is to get the root out as well. Then the chop, when you can't remove the weed, the next big thing is to chop their heads, so as to its growth, it is going to be minimized. Then use drip irrigation. So dripping, which will support the growth of only the main plant, and weeds doesn't get the water. So that will help to reduce the growth of weeds. And lastly, by using the chemical herbicides, which will prevent the growth of the weeds. So these are the ways by which it is possible to manage the weeds in the organic farming. Then the next farming practice, that is known as the pest management. Yes, definitely we have to suppose to consider the how the pests are going to be managed in uh, the farm. So maintaining an ecological balance is a major goal under the organic farming. So ecological balance is maintained by using beneficial insects, then predatory or parasitic mice and spiders to keep the pest population down. So here, in the case of pest management, we are going for the some beneficial insects, so which are going to kill the pests, isn't it? Which are harmful to the plant, or we are using the predatory or parasitic mice, or we are using the spiders, isn't it? Which will keep the pest population down. So beneficial insects include the lady beetles, then various wasps, and some nematodes that are used for the insect control. If we want to control the insects, it is possible to use the lady beetles, then various wasps, and some of the nematodes. In the case of severe infestation, farmers use non-toxic pesticides such as the soaps, pheromones, which are used to bait for traps and to disturb mating cycles. Then botanical plant extract like a neem and sulfur for control of the foliar disease and mites in the rare cases. So it is possible we have the another choice to control these pests by using some the non-toxic pesticides. Say for example, soap. For example, certain botanical plant extracts like neem along with the sulfur. Then pheromones, it is another way which are going to prevent the mating cycle of these pests. So these non-toxic pesticides are not harmful as a conventional pesticide. When we are considering the conventional pesticides, they might be synthetic and they are toxic. So we have the another choice to use the pest control by using some of the beneficial insects, or by using some of the agents which are derived from the earth. isn't it? Or some of the herbal products which is having a role in the pest management. So this is about the pest management in the organic farming practices. So if you can see here again, I have shown one chart how the pests are going to be managed. There are two ways are there. Very first way, that is the indirect preventive pest management, and second one is the direct curative pest management. So in the case of indirect preventive pest management, which is related with, or we are considering the environmental protection, we are considering the cultural practices, and we are considering the functional biodiversity. So in the case of environmental protection, that is enriching biodiversity of crop and non-crop habitat. In the case of cultural practices, that is the crop rotation, enhancement of soil fertility, choice of resistant cultivars. In the case of functional biodiversity, enhancement of beneficial antagonists. In the case of direct curative pest management, that is a biological or botanical, that is inundative or the inoculative release of a beneficial disturbing mating and mass capture. And last one, that is the others like a physical measure or the approved biopesticides. So this is the just related with the how the pests are going to be managed. That is either indirect way or the direct way. On the previous slide, we have seen that it is possible to use certain beneficial insects in the management of the pest. Furthermore, it is possible to use the non-toxic pesticides. So this is about the pest management. Let us move towards the last point in the organic farming practices, that is livestock management. See, look at the image so that you will understood what is mean by the livestock and why it is necessary to manage the thing. So whatever the livestock feed should be organically produced, including pastures and forage, contain no urea or the manure and have no animal slaughtered byproduct. So one should not go for the animal slaughtered byproduct. It should provide suitable housing to these animal livestock, then the pasture conditions, then sanitation practices to the animals to reduce the occurrence and spread of diseases and the parasites. So whatever the livestock management is there, it should provide suitable housing, pasture conditions, and sanitation practices to animals to reduce the occurrence and spread of diseases and the parasites. If the animals are going to be infected, what will happen? Again, whatever that those things are there which are going to be reached to the farm, isn't it? It should be regularly move animals to fresh pastures and use other preventive methods instead of routinely dosing the animals with the drugs to control the parasite in farm animals. If we have the farm animals, but should not go for the drugs. Whatever these livestock are there, it should be managed well without antibiotics. So livestock may not be treated with the antibiotics and any animal drugs used to promote the growth, including the hormones, maybe which is being used for the chicken. So whatever the animals should be provided with the access to outdoors, then shades, then shelters, exercise area, fresh area, air, and direct sunlight based on the type of animal, stage of production, climate, and environment. So in this way, whatever the livestock is there, it should be managed. Okay. So these are some practices related with the organic farming. So we have discussed the crop rotation, then the cover cropping, green manures, animal manures, weed management, pest management, and the livestock management in the organic farming. Okay. So here we have finished the point organic farming. Thank you very much.